If you are a vibe coder and use AI to generate code, then you must be spending more time in debugging and reviewing the code rather than the prompt itself. If you know how to debug properly, then it will make you 10x vibe coder. And that's why I have created a guide, a small guide, so that you can understand how to debug and understand my workflow where I repeat the most of the steps. And in the end, I will show you one MCP server. If you don't know how to debug, you can use that MCP server to debug as well. So let's get into it. And I have created developers tools 101 for you guys. So let's do it. So when you are using developer tools, you only need 4 things to know, and it will help you to maximize your 80% productivity. So let's understand what are those 4 things. So first thing is responsive layout, second is network tab, third is console logs, and fourth is the elements tab. So it should be console tab, and let's understand one by one. So this is one of the SaaS I'm working with, and this is in the localhost. You can see I have not deployed this particular application right now in the market. So again, it is a social media scheduler only for Twitter, and we will understand how to debug this particular application. I've also opened cursor for you guys, so you can see this is cursor, and let me do one thing. Let me sign out and let me sign in again to really understand what goes behind the scene. So you can see this is the landing page. If I go to the app and if I continue with Google, again I will give my this ID, and you can see there are few terminal logs. Let me do white theme for you. So you can see there are few terminal logs, and you can see this is working. So this is very easy. AI, you can give this context by pressing Command I, and AI will have the context what you are talking. You can see here. But if you don't want to get this console logs, this terminal logs, but you want proper console log, then how to do it? So let's go to the browser. So you can see this is my main page. So what happens when I go to /app, that is localhost 2000 /app. So you can press command shortcut. So I don't use command, like I have a habit of pressing right click and do inspect. So this is my way of doing it, but I think the shortcut is okay. I don't know the shortcut properly. So I think it's command shift I or command shift tab 12, something like that. So it again depends browser to browser. So let's not get into that. Where if you don't want to remember that click on mouse, like select inspect, and it will open the tab. Now the first thing which we need to know, and that is responsive layout. So let's do it. So what is responsive layout? So you can see right now, if I do this, this is one of the view I'm getting. Now when I compress the screen, this is the UI I'm getting. So when you are vibe coding, AI doesn't do responsive design. It does responsive design only when you prompt it. And also to verify whether it is responsive or not, you have to check in different screen, right? So this is, you can see, and there are 2 ways to do it, and you can see this is, you can press this button. If you press this button, it will do the responsiveness, and you can see you can select dimensions. So this is a like a custom responsiveness. So you can do like this, and you can move like a mobile screen. Like this is responsive screen for mobile and tablets. And if you don't want mobile and tablets for computers, so this is the responsive one. Now again, if I click this one, you can see responsive dimension. Now if I want any other tools, like for example Pixel 7, how it will look in Pixel 7. So you can see this is how it will look in Pixel 7. So this is called responsive layout, and you can test different items. So for example, iPad Air, iPad Pro, how it will look in iPad Air, how it will look in iPad Pro, and for different version you can, and also if you go to the edit, you can select the version you want. So this is called responsive layout, and if you know this, you can build responsive websites which will look good in every screen. And if you are building web application, you have to understand that your customers will come in the mobile, they will come from the laptop, they will come from the iPad. So you have to build for majority of the people, and that's why responsive design is very important. So we've understood how responsive design works, how to debug it, how to check. Now let's understand something called network tab. So right now when I reload this page, you can see network tab is like, for you it may be different. So what I did, I use network tab a lot. So you can see, you can drag it like this, and you can see. So this is how you clear the network logs. Now if I reload this page, whatever API call or whatever network call we haven't made, like through the internet, those are fetched here. So you can see till now it has got the session, and this is one API call. After that it has called different sessions like accounts, credentials, and communities. Like these are all API calls. So for example, some API calls, for example, maybe drafts are not coming up, scheduled posts are not coming up, posteds are not coming up. Then I need to see what is happening behind the scene. So I will see the tweet output and I will see, okay, this is empty, that's why it is not coming. So that means it is an API issue. So I can go in the cursor. So if I go in the cursor, I have already told about the Next.js project structure. So again, if I go to the API and if I go to tweets, so you can see API Twitter tweets. So you can see I am using this fetch account and I am using this API Twitter account, right? So I'm doing this call and I'm doing this in connected account. And after that, if I go to the app and if I go to the API, I can see the Twitter accounts. So I can read this code, I can give this context, and this is how you debug API call and backend points. So this is how you read the network, like all the API calls, whatever API calls you are making from this application, like from this page, that will come in the network tab. So you can see all the output, like what are the output and what are the items and what are throwing error. If there is any error in API, it will also show the error. Why? And there are, you have to understand, in when you are sending API, there is called request and there is called response. So you can see for request, you have to see the payload. So you can see if you want to read the whole code, like you can get here. So you can see this is the query which I am sending to this particular item. Again, if you send a body, it will come in the body here. So let me see whether I have any body or not. Okay, so you can see this is the header and I'm just making an get request, so I'm not sending anything. So let me see whether if I'm making any post request or not. Like I'm sending any body or not. So only I'm sending body for this like parts, like the request, and that's why you can see payload. So whatever you send with that URL, that comes in the payload, and whatever response you get, that comes in the response. And here you can see the status code, what it was the request method, and what was the address, what was referrer policy. And if you want to see the raw address, you can see the raw address as well. So this will help AI to understand what is going behind the scene, and it will read the, and you can just copy paste everything and it will understand things better. So this is how it works, and this is what network tab is called. And if you know how to use this, you will understand what is going between your front end and back end, and you will be able to separate the concerns, like whether it is a front end problem, whether it is a back end problem. Now let's understand the console tab. So I told that in responsive layout we actually shift this one and we see whatever issues are there. So for example, this particular dialog is creating problem and I want to know where this component is. I don't know in my code where this component is. So for example, I want to focus on this component. So you can see I can inspect element and I can see it is using button. Button is an ShatCN component. So let me just zoom in for you guys. So button is an ShatCN component. So I have to go into depth and I have to see what div I am using and what heading I'm using again for this step. So you can use this one, like this particular option, and you can see it is like select an element of the base to insert. So you can do like this. So for example, if I want to read about this button, if this or maybe this card, if I go here, you can see this is the whole code of the card, and I can see what the card header and what is using inside the items. So if I, you can see this is how you figure out. And if you want to say whether where this component is getting rendered, so you can always again search. So let me do the cursor for you guys. So you can see this was the text. So if I just copy this one and do this, you can see I'm using connected accounts card, and here I'm using card header component and card title component. And again, card description is this one, and then card for card content I'm using this one. So this is how you can read all the code. So you've understood how to use the inspect element. And if you don't want to use this one, and if you, for example, I am hovering on this and I want to select where this button code is, so I can always do this inspect and it will automatically refer that part. So again, if I do this, you can see it will be highlighted. So this is the highlighted one. So if I go here, you can see this is the button and I can read what is inside that. So it is, you can see it is save draft button. Again, button is a shared scene component, so that is the code. And that is what we call console tab. So you have to, okay, that was elements tab. My bad, that was elements. So this was called elements tab. Now we are left with console. So let's understand console. So you can see I'm using WebSocket in my Next.js project right now. But if I deploy it in Vercel, it will not work because Vercel server are stateless server. So whenever I reload this page, console logs are getting refreshed, and you can see these are the two console logs which I have only generating, and you can see creating new Twitter WebSocket connection for user, connecting to Twitter account. And if there is any error, and if you are using console.error, console.log, that will throw error. So whatever code you have in front end, like the React components, and if you have written console.log, so you can see I'm using console.log. So if I do console.log, and whenever this particular state is reached, it will do the log. So this way I can read the data flow, how things are working, and even AI does it. Now let's talk about the MCP server, which is very handful. So I have covered how to use the responsive layout, how to use the network tab, how to use the elements tab. Then I have also talked about how to use the console tab to understand the logs. So you have done the 80% of the task. Now let's talk about the MCP server. So again, you can go to cursor settings, and you can go to the, okay, let me go here, tools and integration, and you can see a tool called browser MCP. So you have to download this browser MCP in cursor, and again you have to link that particular browser MCP here. So this is an Chrome extension, so you just need to press connect. Now I've connected my browser MCP. Now whatever instruction I give to cursor, if you're using Cloud MCP or like Cloud Code also, then also you can give. Now I can say read the console and network tab and tell why API logs, why Twitter data is empty. So I could do this. Now you can see if you want to give browser MCP, you can give browser MCP, but I believe it will use browser MCP directly. So let's wait for it. And it can also take screenshot of that particular page, and it can navigate also. So okay, it is running. So I will reject and tell dev is already running. So let me do that, and let's see what it do in the next step. So you can see it is calling the browser navigate, and it is using localhost 3000. Now since I'm in this page, so you can see it will automatically reload this page to 3000. Now 3000 is reloaded. Now it will see whatever the content are there in this particular page. So this is the page snapshot you can see, and now it will do browser navigate, and it will go to the app. So this is how it is working. So it has moved to app. So you can see you have automated the browser, and now it can read the logs. So whenever this page gets loaded, so you can see it is loaded, and it has got the screenshot, and again now it will read the browser console logs. So let me run this, and it has got the logs. You can see 2 logs it has got, connection connected to Twitter, and like this. Now it is taking the browser snapshot. So if there is console logs, it will read the console logs. So let me run this browser snapshot, and again it will read what is there in the, so you can see it will like read the page, and again like it is in loop. So right now it is only reading the console logs. Let me see. Okay, now it is kind of like clicking browser click. So this is how you can debug, and this is how you can automate the workflow, and AI will read the console logs, and AI will write the console logs, and you can automate the debugging process as well. So now you can say setup auth. It is now clicking on the setup auth credentials. So this is actually a great way to debug, and this is what I wanted to tell. And this is all you need to understand how to debug and become a 10x web coder. So I will see you tomorrow in the next video, where I will talk about database, how to connect in local host, and then we will continue our series of SaaS application which we are doing, and today was day 11. So I will see you in the day 12. Bye.